Maya is in the restroom before the staff meeting, gripping the sink because morning sickness just stole her whole opening update. Her manager thinks she's unprepared. Maya thinks she has two options: fake normal or disappear into leave. Both are expensive mistakes. The third option is the cheat code: ask for the work fix, not permission to struggle, and not a medical confession. Maya's first draft was 3 paragraphs about nausea, hormones, appointments, and fear. It sounded honest. It also buried the actual request. Your employer does not need your full medical biography to understand the work limitation. Consider giving enough facts to start the accommodation process. The EEOC says the PWFA covers employers with 15 or more workers and requires reasonable accommodations for known pregnancy-related limitations absent undue hardship. Translation: if pregnancy, childbirth, or a related condition affects a job task, the conversation should move to adjustments, not judgment. Use 4 parts: limitation, work impact, requested adjustment, duration. That structure keeps the conversation operational and stops oversharing before it starts. Maya rewrote her message. I have a pregnancy-related limitation causing morning illness. It affects early meetings. I'm requesting a later start through next month. Then she added the power line. I'm available to discuss alternatives that meet the same work need. That's confident, not apologetic. Pause. Notice what she did not include: symptoms in detail, test results, family drama, or a long apology for being human. The EEOC says workers do not need magic words to request accommodation. They only need to communicate a need for a workplace change. Still, use clear language. I'm requesting a reasonable accommodation may help HR recognize the process and stop treating it like a favor. Maya's company had 40 employees, a busy launch, and a manager who loved saying we're all stretched. That did not end the analysis. Under PWFA, employers generally must provide reasonable accommodations for known limitations unless the employer can show undue hardship on operations. Undue hardship is not your request annoys my staffing spreadsheet. It means significant difficulty or expense under the circumstances. Consider staying factual. If they say, "Can you just take leave?" answer, "Is there a reasonable accommodation that would let me keep working instead?" EEOC examples include extra breaks, water or free policy changes, schedule changes, telework, lifting help, temporary reassignment, and leave when needed. Maya did not ask for less responsibility. She asked to shift 2 standing meetings from early morning to late morning for 6 weeks. That specificity matters. I'm struggling creates sympathy maybe. I'm requesting 10 o'clock client calls creates an operational decision someone can approve. For migraines, one approach is, I have a medical limitation triggered by lighting. It affects screen work. I'm requesting reduced glare and flex breaks. For lifting, try, I have a pregnancy-related lifting restriction. It affects inventory tasks. I'm requesting team lift support or temporary reassignment for those tasks. For appointments, try, I need intermittent time for medical visits related to pregnancy. I can cover deliverables if we adjust Tuesday starts. For postpartum recovery, consider, I can perform the role with remote work 3 afternoons weekly through recovery. I'm open to equivalent options. The PWFA final regulation took effect June 18, 2024, after EEOC issued its final rule that April for covered employers. The point is timing. Maya asked before missed deadlines stacked up. That made her request sound like risk management, not damage control. Lean in. Ask before performance slips if you can. Waiting until everything breaks gives your manager a problem story, not a solution story. Her manager replied, "Send me doctor's notes and details." Maya did not panic. She narrowed the ask like a professional. She wrote, "Happy to provide reasonable documentation if needed. Please tell me exactly what information HR requires and the deadline." That's enough. Do not let vague documentation requests become a fishing trip. Consider asking what they need, why they need it, and by when. The EEOC notes employers may request supporting documentation only in limited situations and should not seek unnecessary medical information during accommodations. Maya's revised note got approved, later starts, no early client calls, and quick snack breaks away from the floor for 1 month. The EEOC lists breaks to eat, drink, rest, or use the restroom as possible PWFA accommodations for pregnancy-related limitations. Tiny changes can protect real output. A break at the right time may save a client call, a shift, or a deadline. Now switch to Bree, a warehouse supervisor 20 weeks pregnant. Her team loads heavy boxes. Her fear was looking weak. Weak is hiding a restriction until someone gets hurt. Smart is moving the hazardous task while keeping your judgment in play. Bree's line was, "My limitation affects lifting over a certain weight. I'm requesting assistance for those lifts during my next evaluation." She did not say, "I can't do this job." She said, "Move this task so I can keep doing the job." PWFA examples include temporarily suspending essential functions in some circumstances, temporary reassignment, and help with lifting or manual labor when reasonable. Managers may understand headcount. HR may understand statutes. You need both. Send the request to your manager and copy the right HR contact. Subject line can be boring. Accommodation request. The body should be sharper. Limitation, impact, adjustment, duration, alternatives. No essay needed. Keep copies of requests, replies, schedules, and approvals. Not because you're starting a war, but because memory gets convenient under pressure. Next is Danny, back from leave and pumping between calls. Her supervisor pointed at a restroom. Absolutely not the move. The Pump Act generally requires reasonable break time in a private non-bathroom space to pump for 1 year after birth. Danny said, "I need pump breaks in a private non-bathroom space. It affects my ability to work on-site today and this quarter." Notice the tone. No shame, no permission slip. Just a workplace requirement, a schedule need, and a clear path forward. The Labor Department says covered employees must have a place shielded from view and free from intrusion for pumping at work. Danny's manager said, "We don't have a lactation room." She answered with the cheat code. What private non-bathroom space can we use? Do not solve their floor plan for them. Name the standard. Ask for options. Let management manage the logistics quickly today. This same structure helps beyond pregnancy. If anxiety, depression, PTSD, or migraines affect work, consider accommodation language instead of silent collapse. EEOC mental health guidance says ADA accommodations may include altered schedules, quiet workspace, written instructions, shift changes, or work from home. Again, hedge the request around function, not identity. This limitation affects concentration during noisy blocks. Beats my life is falling apart. A clean mental health version. I have a medical condition affecting concentration. I'm requesting written priorities and quiet work blocks for 6 weeks. If you're unsure what applies, consider consulting HR, a trusted clinician, an employment lawyer, or a worker rights agency before escalating. Maya learned the hardest part was emotional. She wanted to prove she wasn't difficult, but the job needed conditions that matched reality. Your request is not a confession. It is a work design proposal. Good design removes frictions so output survives real life. Use this sentence today. I can perform the essential parts of my role if we adjust this specific condition for this period. Then stop talking. Silence is strategic. The more you ramble, the more doors you open for irrelevant debate about your body. Maya's 1-month adjustment turned into stable output, cleaner mornings, and fewer awkward emergencies. Her team noticed reliability, not diagnosis. The EEOC says PWFA protections cover limitations related to pregnancy, childbirth, or related medical conditions, even when temporary or episodic. Temporary still counts as real. Episodic still counts as real. Consider describing when the limitation appears and what task it hits. If HR offers a bad alternative, respond. That does not address the work impact. Can we discuss an option that does? If they deny the request, ask for the reason in writing. Stay calm. You are building clarity, not collecting drama. And yes, some workplaces will act weird. Pregnancy exposes bad systems. Pumping exposes bad systems. Accommodations expose lazy management fast. But don't confuse their discomfort with your overreach. The professional move is precise, early, documented, and tied to performance every time. Template 1. My limitation affects this task. I'm requesting this adjustment from this date to this date. I'm open to effective alternatives. Template 2. Please confirm the next step in the interactive process, including any documentation needed and who will review it. If this is useful, save it and subscribe. Not for noise, but because knowing the script before the meeting changes outcomes. One more move. Separate urgent needs from nice-to-haves. Ask first for the adjustment that protects the work this week fast today. If the accommodation needs renewal, set a reminder before it expires. Consider sending an update with results, not just symptoms briefly. Maya did that, she wrote. The later start kept client responses on track. I'd like to extend it 2 weeks. That sentence turns accommodation into continuity. You're showing what works, which may help reasonable people say yes faster next time cleanly. The EEOC says employers and workers should use an interactive process to identify effective accommodations under PWFA when the need is known. Interactive does not mean endless. If the need is obvious, consider asking for a direct decision and a clear timeline too. Picture the before, Maya apologizing in a restroom, trying to earn compassion through extra detail. That version loses leverage quickly. Picture the after, Maya sending 6 clean sentences, keeping morning calls later, and delivering the launch report on time without theater. That's the cheat code. Do not ask permission to struggle. Ask for the work fix that lets you perform and keep going. Recap, limitation, work impact, requested adjustment, duration. Add alternatives. Request documentation specifics. Keep copies. Push back on automatic leave professionally. Your body is not the presentation. Your job conditions are. Name the barrier, request the change, and make the system answer.